Expecting to happen or not?
You know, Miles won't practice today, but I know it's going to be a day-to-day thing. So, there's a chance, but it'll be based on what the medical staff say.
You said he won't practice, is that
No,
correct?
no.
How scary was that for you, just to see what happened and hear all about it?
Yeah, we always talk to the players just really about being safe, in the building, outside of the building. Um, Fortunately for him, he had a seatbelt on and he's healthy, and that's all that's really important. Something he'll probably learn from, but we're just happy that he's healthy.
Joe, you have arguably one of the best defensive players in football. I'm sure there are a lot of scheme things surrounding him. Just how big of a shakeup that is to play calls or scheme on your side.
It's something over the years you get used to, unfortunately, but we have good players, guys that we drafted, guys that we signed in free agency. So we want to keep whatever the best plan is, to beat our opponent, and that's what we'll do, this week and go from there.
Jadavian's also kind of battling that ankle, and it's a lot of young guys behind JD and Miles. Just how much are you putting on their plate this week, and how are they sort of responding to that?
Yeah, I really believe, and I know I've said this before, but it's not that guys have to step up and do anything special. It's just go out and do your job. So if we had all our guys available, I wouldn't say, hey, don't worry about it. You can take it easy. So I haven't really talked to them more about the situation we're in. It's just whoever's up, who's ever healthy, let's just go play the best football we can to give our team a chance to win.
How has Alex Wright developed from when you first saw him at rookie minicamp until now? Because he might start there for Miles.
Yeah, Alex is definitely getting better every week. He's learning what life's like in the NFL. The players he has to go against every week. But you can see him from a technical standpoint, from a confidence standpoint, improving in terms of playing the run, improving in the pass rush. We move him around a little bit outside, inside, but he's definitely getting better every week.
Something specific that he's improved on most?
Setting the edges, running stunts, whenever we pressure, his ability to work with others in our pass rush games, whether he's the guy setting it up or he's the guy that we're trying to free up. You see all that with him, and we're going to continue to put more on his plate.
What's the challenges of the Atlanta offense?
They do some unique things. They're definitely taking advantage of Mariota's skill set. They have talented players around them that have size that can run. But you can definitely see there's things where they're trying to get the ball to certain guys, and there's things that they're trying to do to take advantage of Mariota and what he's able to do running and passing the ball. So they use a lot of different personnel groups, a lot of personnel groups just to make put different sub packages on the field. But I think right now with him, they probably got the scheme where they want it.
Baltimore? Game planning Baltimore?
It is. It is, because you have to make sure you're doing what you need to defend what you see on tape. There's going to be some unscouted looks, but it's not like you can just throw the kitchen sink at them, because you might want to pressure them when they run the ball, and now they're running the ball and there's nobody there. So you have to be very careful in terms of what you're doing, and it's really based on what they choose to put on the field.
Joe, you alluded to the size they have on offense, but Cordero Patterson in particular, for him to be able to make that position change and be as big as he is, the challenges of game planning for him.
Yeah, I know Cordero. I was in Minnesota when we drafted him, and he was a very explosive returner early in his career, but he's a tough physical runner. He's going to get north and south. Really tough mentality in terms of his mindset. We know we're going to have multiple players, tackle them, and we have to be able to set edges. You can see some of the run game we watched on tape where he's creasing people, right now on the edge. So we're definitely going to have our hands full, but it's going to take everybody.
It's not just defensive end where you have some injuries, right? JOK and Denzel didn't practice and Taven. Mm-hmm. So what are the challenges when it kind of cuts across all three levels of your defense?
Defensively, you don't want to give them too much where they can't handle it. but at the same time, that's why they're here. You know, I don't believe that there's backups in the NFL. I just believe there's starters in waiting. You know, some of the guys are still developing and learning, but, you know, I trust those guys. I believe they're good players. They're going to fill in for those guys if they don't play, and we're going to keep doing what we do defensively.
How does going up against Mari Cooper every day in practice on the defense?
It's good. It's a battle. Like, you like to look out there and you see our corners, whether it's, you know, Denzel or Greg or Greedy, and it's a battle. You know, when it's good on good, you have elite players going against each other. They get better.
Yeah, Tennessee used him a little more drop back, right? This is more like what he did at Oregon.
Yeah.
The way he pulls the ball out of the back.
Yeah.
Is that the big key to his effectiveness?
Well, I'm sure he's reading some of the runs when he's pulling it, and the thing he'll do is he'll challenge your leverage. You know, so he's reading as, you know, as the end closes, as the end coming up the field. But there's times where he'll pull it and just see if you can contain him. So when you see that, you see his athletic ability on tape. He's dangerous. So you have to account for him at times in the run game, but you can't do it all the time. And that's why I think there's, you know, he's a dangerous player with what they're doing with him because of his ability to run the ball.
You defended him while he played at Tennessee, I assume, or you saw him ever?
Yeah, no, he's one guy really. He was with Oakland when we played against him, but he just had a small package. Yeah.
Has he got more chance of succeeding doing what he's used to than dropping back?
Yeah, they're doing both, but I think that's what makes it difficult to defend. He is dropping back. There's a lot of play action, but he's also running the ball in really unusual situations where you're not expecting it. But I think the ability to do both is what's really making him tough to defend.
What makes those RPOs challenging to defend and plan for while you're putting together a defensive game plan?
You have guys, you know, on defense that are responsible for certain gaps. So when you get the play fake, you know, they're stepping to their gaps, and now they get a one-on-one in space. So you really have to work on what schemes you're running, you know, who's responsible for the run fit and the leverage of the guy in defense. So, you know, we talk about that all the time because that's what football's turning into in the NFL, you know, just a little bit more to college spread.
Were you surprised that after Denzel played the whole entire game that he came in and was a little banged up and is now on the injury report?
No, I mean, it's the game's so physical, you know, and guys have, you know, the adrenaline rush that they play through, and that game was very emotional Thursday night against Pittsburgh. So it happens from time to time, but no, I wasn't surprised.
Do you feel good about him for this weekend?
Yeah, it's day to day, but he's been out there, so we'll see where he's at. But I definitely feel like there's a good chance that he'll play.
When it comes to Miles on the field, it seems like the last 2 weeks in particular, teams have really been physical with him, chipping him with a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I know that happens all the time with him,
Yeah.
but are there things you guys can do to kind of make life a little easier on him?
Yeah, we definitely do. We have a plan for him. It's based on the situation. Like, you can't always do it, but we definitely have a plan when it comes to chip protection. And he's going to see a lot of it. Even if you don't see it when you're breaking down tape, it's going to happen.
What's the unique thing that, challenge that Kyle Pitts presents to you guys?
He's big, athletic, fast. He can block. I think the first play preseason last year hit us on a boot for about 30 yards. But he's a tough matchup because they're moving him all over the place. You know, so you have to be careful of what you're running, who's responsible for covering them. There's multiple things we have to do. You know, sometimes you make them run through zones. Sometimes you cloud them. Sometimes you double them. But I think you have to do all of them. You know, so it makes it hard for them to find them.
How were you able to pull your guys together in the back end after what happened in the previous game, and how do you feel like they responded and got it together?
The Jets game?
Yeah, how do you think
Yeah.
they responded to that?
I think they took ownership, just in terms of, you know, what happened late in the game. And then from a coaching standpoint, you know, we took ownership because we have to do it together. And if the execution is not there, you have to pull it back and see what's really happening. And that's what we took the time to do, to really kind of get down to what's the nuts and bolts, what's happening. And those are the corrections we tried to make. Going into the Pittsburgh game, you know, at halftime, we had to make some adjustments. and we put a lot of pressure on the players to make it, just based on what was happening, and they did a great job. So, you know, we made the corrections, and then, you know, moving forward against Pittsburgh, they did a nice job handling it on the field, and that's the things you talk about. You show them that, you know, things they do well and the areas they need to improve.
When you talk about all the attention that Miles gets from opposing offenses, if he's not out there, then how much different is it for you as far as, you know, do they put other guys out in routes now that they don't have to double him? How much does that change?
That's possible. Like you don't know, you know, because there's things we do in the, you know, blitzing the quarterback, different blitz packages we have. So you don't know if they respect that, or like you said, Miles isn't out there, and then now you're getting a lot of guys releasing. So it's something that's possible. It's something that we talk about and that we'll have a plan for.
I know you guys did play better, of course, against the Steelers, but you guys have allowed 0 points in the first quarter, 0 in the third, but the second and fourth aren't looking so good. Is there what's your explanation?
Yeah, I think, if I remember, it goes fast, but against the Jets, I think we played well coming out of halftime. Really the whole way up until the last 2 minutes of the game. I think we gave it three points. And I think it was really the same thing against Pittsburgh. So I think we're doing a good job handling adjustments. Those last 2 games, the first game, you know, with Carolina, just making some mistakes in terms of execution. Me, you know, in terms of putting certain defensive package on the field, not getting the call out quick enough. So it's all those things you learn for, and in those critical situations, you just want to make sure you're calling something that the guys are confident in, that they can play fast and execute.
Joe, do you expect with the linebacker, you know, the injury situation of linebacker, do you expect to see Dakota up this weekend for just kind of help with that?
Yeah, not sure. I mean, we practice them. We have some other guys that are ready to step up, but I think it's all going to depend on what happens the rest of the week with JOK.
What kind of a blow is it not having Anthony for the rest of the season? And with JOK question mark, like, can Sione, we think of him as kind of a big run stopper, but can he play that kind of weak side nickel that I think he did at the end of that game?
Definitely. It's a big blow just because of the leadership and what Anthony was doing on the field. Definitely thought that he was playing really well for us. And then, you know, guys are confident when he's in there. But I definitely feel like Jacob is ready to, you know, take the reins. He's very confident. He's a take charge type of guy. He's just young. He's learning. And then Sione, we involved him in teaching him multiple positions, so he'll be ready to step in, you know, in our nickel, dime, and our Ruby package.